Real estate is the key to building your own generational wealth. First, scrape together all of your savings. For me, this was about $18,000. Then look into borrowing against your 401k. This is an essentially free loan and you pay yourself back with interest. As soon as you have 3.5% down, buy a house. The look of it doesn't matter. The neighborhood doesn't matter. It just has to be big enough for roommates and the right price. Meaning that with roommates, your share of the mortgage is the same as the rent that you were paying before you bought the house. That way, your living expenses don't change, but your housing cost becomes a savings account instead of just going into your landlord's pocket. Then just wait. Literally just live your normal life. Your new neighborhood may not be your favorite, but that's okay. This is just temporary. You're making a sacrifice for your future. Now, when 2 years have passed, sell. You've been collecting rent this whole time, so you should be okay to have a pretty slim profit margin on resale. Remember, your housing cost has remained unchanged, so any money you make off this sale is profit. Reinvest your profit into your next house. I made about $70,000 off the sale of my first home. That would have taken me about 9 years to save, which put me in my next house about 7 years early.
Awesome video. You know, the best time to buy real estate was 20 years ago and the second best time is today. Coming up with a strategy like this, almost precisely this, is exactly what you should be looking for. Love the point about the neighborhood doesn't matter. Obviously it matters, but not as much as you think is probably a more appropriate way to put it. What it looks like obviously matters, but doesn't matter as much as you think. Resist the urge and the temptation to keep up with your peers. That costs money. It costs money that you may not have. The more you can sacrifice in the early on, the more you can profit later on. Also, it should be noted that it is not always profit when you sell a primary residence. There are capital gains exemptions for taxes on capital gain on the sale of a primary residence, but there are limits. $250,000 for an individual, $500,000 for a married couple. So if you work your way up and you're making more than that and wanting to reinvest it, it will be subject to tax above those limits. Of course, always consult an accountant or an attorney for advice on those things. I'm just a real estate broker. But in general and in summation, love the video, great message, follow her.